This is part 61 and 62. Obviously, I'm the only one serious about God and martial arts, and no one should be teaching about God, martial arts, love, relationship, etc. Or any of the martial art or life principles. Only I. Even your own Bible, which is out there to confuse things and it doesn't speak directly enough, doesn't teach directly enough, says that you have one teacher, and that is the Messiah. Okay, so I'm not racist, I'm mixed black and white, there's Jews in my family, but I, especially because of their treacherous groups for the purpose of benefiting their groups, I don't want LGBT people, whites or Jews, teaching martial arts or the Bible or about love, okay? Or marrying people, etc. They've gone the distance to change my voice and change my shape, and they interfere with every single video. They've edited every video. As far as I know, they've edited every single video I've ever put out there. It's only a matter of time before they edit the words as well. There's no excuse for that. I'd imagine. So that's what they'll do. All right, so 61. The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and release the prisoners from darkness. Okay. To proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God. So, of course, binding up the brokenhearted. Everyone else practices romantic justice. Some of them calculate to the extreme as Freemasons, Boulets, frats, government groups, corporate groups, people in social clubs, okay? They're extremely hell-bent on romantic control, sexual control. Really, they don't have romance, it's just sex, and it's profane. Profane, right? It's fake. They don't obey God through me, so their love isn't real, it is fake. If they really love people, they will put their soul over their flesh. Okay, I often use the example of toenails over the flesh. Obviously the soul is greater than the flesh, and the flesh, your body in general, is greater than just the toenails by itself. Okay. All right. So comfort for all who mourn, and provide for those who grieve in Zion, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. They will be called oaks of righteousness, a planting of the Lord for the display of his splendor. So again, these people cannot possibly be righteous. Israel is not righteous, no nation in the world. In Psalms it says the wicked go down to the realm of the dead, all the nations that forget God. In Revelation it makes it clear that all the nations betrayed God, and he takes out only a small group of people, right? Narrow is the way, versus, narrow is the way to heaven, wide is the way to destruction. Okay. 62. For Zion's sake I will not keep silent, for Jerusalem's sake I will not remain quiet, till her vindication shines out like the dawn, her salvation like a blazing torch. The nations will see your vindication, all the kings your glory. You will be called by a new name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow. So, people who are lying in a form, when it comes to truth, they're quiet, right? They're not telling the truth. They're not obeying God through me by their actions. Therefore, they're quiet. Therefore, they're lying. You see what I'm saying? Truth is not in them to speak, okay? And so truth in them is quiet, right? The potential to be telling the truth, okay? So for Zion's sake, I will not keep quiet. For Jerusalem's sake, I will not remain quiet. So for Zion's sake, I will not keep silent, okay? For Jerusalem's sake, I will not remain quiet, till her vindication shines out like the dawn, her salvation like a blazing torch. So it's a light of justice, it's a light of vindication, it's a light of salvation. These things are inseparable. So when these people say, hey guys, they're arguing that you can just have faith without being in the spirit of bringing justice, and that's wrong. Okay, all the churches are wrong, everyone else is wrong. Okay, you're not doing God justice when you rebel against me. Okay, rebellion is like the sin of divination, arrogance is like the sin of idolatry, and vice versa. Okay, there's no excuse for rebelling against my lead. Who will obey the servant in time to be saved, is what Isaiah is saying. Okay, and I went over that in the other chapters earlier. Okay, the nations will see your vindication, all the kings your glory. You'll be called a new name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow. You will be a crown of splendor in the Lord's hand, a royal diadem in the hand of your God. No longer will you be called deserted, or name your land desolate, but you will be called Hesphisabah, and your land Belua. For the Lord will take delight in you, and your land will be married. So married, martial, and marital, right? So they are at, look at Jerusalem, you look at the churches, they are void of the Spirit of God. They're in some kind of fairy, sissy spirit. They don't have heart, they don't have love, they don't love their families. They're just on some nonsense. And they don't have the heart to tell the truth about these things. So they just conform, and they put being polite at times, at least, over polite in a sixth sense, mind you, and nice in a sixth sense, over being righteous. Okay, God's Spirit is righteous, not just nice to sinners. Okay, it's righteous. It's doing justice first. Your brother sins, rebuke him. If he repents, forgive him. Okay, better is open rebuke than love is concealed. The only way to repent is to be, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I'm the way to justice, righteousness, repentance, vindication, true love, etc. Okay, since they didn't do that, and after I'm gone, there will be no successor. After I'm gone, no one is worthy to replace me. Therefore, okay, they will be done, and their offspring will be done. All right. So as a young man marries a woman, so will your builder marry you. As a bridegroom rejoices over a bride, your God will rejoice. Your God rejoices over you, or will rejoice over you. So will your God rejoice over you. Okay. I posted watchmen on your walls, Jerusalem. They will never. Wait a second here. They will never be silent day or night. You who call on the Lord, give yourself no rest. Okay, and give him no rest till he establishes Jerusalem and makes her the praise of the earth. Okay, so I had to do this part again because of the interference, and there's no excuse for it because this is a key video. I'll be making another video. I won't call it part 4, but I'll put it at the end of the list. That's the part we're on. They're filming me and so on and so forth. There's no excuse for it, okay? So we look at it in terms of justice, right? Put yourself in my shoes. You're part black, part white. You're not racist. God chose you and made you the mixed servant of God in the end. And you said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to judge people according to their deeds. Jerusalem is called daughter Jerusalem in the Bible. Okay, Zion is called a person, a daughter Zion. Babylon's called daughter Babylon. So nations as well are people. Philistines were called uncircumcised Philistines. They were judged as groups. Pharisees were judged as groups. He said, woe to the Pharisees. So I have to judge as groups because there's no viable counter argument. As groups and individuals, because there's no viable counter argument to the argument the Bible presented. And the people who teach the Bible didn't say that it was wrong for David and the Jews and Jesus and so on to call people out as groups. So what groups are the most guilty in society? The Jews, the whites, the LGBT community, okay? Then we look in terms of the model minority in this world. Again, it has to be done. The Asians are the model minority, which means they're the next guilty because they're of this world, they're the model minority, right? The scientists, the token minorities, they live in their areas and so on and so forth. Okay, so what have they done? And also their martial art treachery. They're going to sit back and pretend I'm not the top martial arts ever. So this is an example of one who's slack in his work, his brother to one who destroys. This is sacred to me. It's sacred to humanity. It's the most sacred time in history. And their Buddhist philosophies and then their New World Order philosophies and their various philosophies are kind of like their nature, which has caused them to kind of be still instead of assertive, which has ended up costing humanity everything, with the role that they've played as well. So they've contributed in the downfall of humanity by teaching non-action and living non-action instead of rallying and obeying God through me. And of course they have cultural barriers and caste systems like Indians and Chinese and so on and so forth. And Japanese historically have caste systems, and this contributed to their fall as well. And they've opened up their heart to the devil, okay, to the globalist international Jews, those three, the three groups I named earlier, the whites, Jews, and LGBT community, right? The neo-colonialists, the main guys in charge. They talk about the white establishment, the white male patriarchy, okay? But obviously it's also the LGBT community. Look at their control over the media, Hollywood, dating sites, social media sites, so on and so forth. And how they're disproportionately government people. Everyone seems to look gay and talk gay, how they edit my voice to make it so I sound gay. So it's overkill that the right thing to do is to overkill that they're the least worthy groups to teach about God and martial arts and to marry people and so on and so forth. Okay, but nobody is worthy except for me to do these things. Not even my parents, though they're blameless. I'm the only one who has the righteous acts to be worthy, right? When it says in Revelation, it says, who is worthy to open the seal and to seal man in hell? The Lion of Judah, not the craftsman, not the knucklehead, not the brute beast, but the heart of a lion, the lion-hearted, but not King Richard, he was a devil. Okay, the Lion of Judah, okay, which is superimposed, right? It's like a code for the top martial artist ever, okay? Galatians 3 and 4 makes it clear there's no Jew or Gentile. We look for righteousness, right? The fine linen stands for the righteous acts of the saints, not for the flesh of the Jews who are given privilege. There is no privilege in the eyes of God. There's just generational moral inheritance. And as all these groups, especially those three groups I named, were extremely, extremely immoral as groups, and these people chose to keep breeding in those groups, okay? They chose to be on board with the pirate ship in their cultural processes. But my mom is white, and she's blameless, but you get what I'm saying. By now, if you don't know I'm exactly right, if you don't know I'm not racist, you're a fucking idiot. If you don't know this is the just verdict, you're a dumbass.